very fine margins on the playoff separation. You know, in the last couple of years, we have seen, I think, Loud in spring of 22 ended up 7th with a positive record, something like 10-8, and they were 7th in the league, lost on tiebreakers, devastating for them. But maybe now, as the champions, they can make it a bit more clear cut. As we have arrived, Hawk, onto Summoner's Rift for Game 4 of the day. We did have some technical difficulties on the CBLOL stage, I imagine, but let's see who wants to swing first.
They just wanted to give us enough time to hype up all the amazing storylines
Oh, yeah.
that are going to be taking place in this game. But as we're on to the Rift now, it's just a 5-point for both teams. No early level 1 shenanigans, but I am going to be looking at these junglers in the early game. Lots of scaling across all 3 lanes, but very, very proactive junglers are going to, again, be looking to get shove in mid, get priority in the river, and apply pressure to these side lanes. So I want to see if Croc or Scary decide to skip any camps to try to get first move into mid, particularly looking at Loud. If you can get flash off of Yuri, this Rise all of a sudden is going to be so dangerous walking through the river if he could get picked off without that summoner spell. So we'll see if Loud opts to go for any sort of early aggression. Does the boy and Skuro, though, taking control of this lane early on in the bot side?
Yeah, Loud are making a bit of an adventure into that top side jungle. There is a ward placed there by Lonely. They'll see what's going on here. Kabum will decide whether they want to contest. Yuri definitely seems like he wants to keep an eye on it. But Tinones is currently guarding the way, and this is an aftershock Galio. It's not a Predator Galio, so he doesn't have that extra roaming speed. He does have a bit more of the combat survivability, and perhaps that does indicate there will be a bit more scrapping in the mid lane. Perhaps they will try to burst Yuri's summoners and actually punish him with Croc and Tinones together in the mid lane. Rather than Tinones super heavily clearing and roaming, as we would normally expect from a Predator Galio take. Now, we didn't get any extra action in that jungle. There was a bit of a stare off, but no blows were reached, and it's going to be a bit of a vertical jungle for us here to start off.
But it is a nice invade from Croc early on. Vi, level 1, one of the weakest champions in the game. So Croc simply taking advantage of that, moving in with his top laner and his mid laner. It does mean Tinones sacrifices a little bit of the shove, but it could be a 3-quadrant angle should Croc want to take it. Now, Scary does have shove in mid and in bot if he opts to walk in, and it does seem like that will be the call, but Root going to try to walk over and spot this one out. We'll see if Loud contests or if it's just going to be an information ward.
Yeah, and remember, you know, we mentioned this matchup, this jungle matchup between Scary and Croc feels to me at least like one of the easiest pressure points for Loud to push on. Now, they do have knowledge of what Scary is doing, but Croc is still up on the top side doing his Krug. So it'll just be knowledge for now. They're not going to try and get very aggressive and set this Kabum jungler behind, but let's see if they can leverage any advantage in that matchup as Skuro has roamed over and taken the blue buff. Is that intentional? Is this
I don't
good?
think so. Scary looked like he was just going to smite auto it, and then Skuro with the picks, because now Scary's still only level 2. And Scary's not going to hit level 3 off of these Raptors either.
Wow.
Or no, he will. He did red Krugs, going to do Raptors, but yeah, that's just a little unlucky right there. Now Croc, first gank in mid.
Yeah, there they are looking to pressure in that 2v1. Potentially they are forcing this a little heavier. Yuri using that tower range to fire back onto the Wukong, but you know, we wanted to see Skuro roam, but these aren't the kind of roams that I think we wanted to see, where you go and yoink your own jungler's blue buff.
No, not at all. And Loud most certainly pinged that one out. They're going to realize that Scary's really far behind in the clear, and this is the power of the vertical. Robo proxying Lonely early on, and even though that little prank, as it were, a pressure gank in mid lane didn't look like it did too much, Yuri hangs onto the flash critically, just chunking out the Rise again. First move in river with these roaming mid laners is going to be so impactful. It's going to secure the double crab for Croc as he just walks back through Tinones, getting priority on the wave as Yuri, forced to TP back in due to that health disadvantage he was subjected to.
Bro, I love that Croc didn't even opt to try and 3-camp versus Scary, but Scary's own support did the work for him. He set his own jungler behind, and Croc's like, well, I guess, good job me, now I'm ahead, I've double crabbed, and easy job, I suppose. As Scary is going to pull the recall. Both junglers, in fact, heading back for the reset, and a TP comes in from Tinones. Getting a bit scrappy in the bot lane. Kabum stepping up, but eats a boomerang blade to the face, does Skuro, and we might be able to see some sparks flying out of these duos before long.
So Root is out of mana, and Skuro full mana because of that blue buff.
Still trading heavily, as you see, and it comes with a amount. Oh, they commit with the exhaust and the ignite as well. Duds has to slide over the wall. He's low, but is he too low? Root's going for it. Skuro flashes away. One more boomerang and flashes there. Just a sliver between them. Duds and Skuro didn't enjoy that fight.
No, they did not.
Croc
Root not wanting to flash in, but Croc maybe.
spots him. There's the flash. Comes in with a playful trickster and a bonk to the head. And there's that first blood for the jungler.
So clean by Loud right there. Root not wanting to flash in because they didn't know where Scary was, but Croc says, I have no such limitations. Just W's over the wall, goes in with the flash and takes the kill. Did he get the blue buff back? That's the real question that we need answered. But either way, Skuro getting taken down. I was about to say, hey, maybe with that blue buff, Skuro and Duds the Boy could at least take control of this bot lane 2v2. That was the side that they had the vertical on, but no, instead, it's just a winning 2v2, and all of a sudden, it's a 1,000 gold lead and 3 advantageous lane states for the side of Loud.
Yeah, not looking great so far as Robo going for the aggressive trades. Has hit 6 first, but Lonely playing with confidence, nerves of steel there, not to be intimidated, and wins that trade pretty handily. He's going to hit that cannon barrage very shortly, and there might be a bit more safety for Kaboom's mid and bot lane if they have that Gangplank cult to try and disengage a bad fight, as Robo now decides he's not feeling safe there, goes back himself. So Loud have the start they wanted, and let's see if they want to keep their feet on the gas now. Croc still level 4, far away from the Cyclone, and the mid laners are the ones with the ults ready to go for a rotation if needed.
Yeah, but Croc just going to rotate his way through mid. It doesn't matter that he spotted Yuri low on mana, forced to play back. Again, Tino's the one with control over the wave, and now Croc can go Raptors into Krugs into red buff when that one spawns, and Lonely is going to need to be very careful of a potential dive on the top side. Scary is actually up in XP because of how much time that Croc has spent roaming around the map, and it will be a dragon start, knowing that Croc is going up to the top side. But again, Lonely in a potential 3v1 situation on the next wave if Loud opts to go for it. Robo came back with full resources, full HP. This could get a little dicey. Awkward double control ward there on the bottom side, but not going to amount to too much.
Loud are pressing right here with the health advantage and could maybe look for a little cheeky 3v1 as there's no Vi ultimate on Scary. It looks like he's going to be allowed to finish that dragon. A little assist from Duds over the wall. They'll get away, but Root and Seos are managing this lane very, very well. And on the meanwhile, Croc is going to try and take back some of their XP. He's going to go straight onto that blue buff, take away that topside buff for the second time this game. And we'll see if there is a top lane dive on the cards. Lonely still fairly healthy, does have his ultimate. But, Wukong and Jax, now they've changed this Jax so much that early damage is pretty formidable.
Yeah, no dive on the top side, though, which is really crucial. Being able to take away that dragon without getting visited by the Galio is a win for Kabum.
Yeah.
So they're going to be very okay with that. It is a little bit of a jungle disadvantage for Scary. Again, as you said, losing out on that blue buff, but now back up to the top side. Lonely should be covered on this push out, and Kabum, they're actually going to be able to potentially weather some of this early game that we saw Loud putting down. Now, they are at slight disadvantages in both side lanes, and we were talking about how important these side lanes would be for being able to control the map as we move into the mid-game stages. But as we've said time and time again, scaling is good for both teams. So Kabum,
Yes.
they're very much in this game, and we saw how Loud beat Pain last time. If you can avoid losing in 24 minutes, you're already doing better than one of the pre-split favorites.
Both supports heading up to the top side, but Seos has the Wukong taxi. He's going to get into lane. A flash for some Lonely. Doesn't want to commit for the Cyclone. Not going to go for it as Tinones is still in the mid lane. Skuro hanging around mid as well. So they just get the summoner from Lonely for now. And now Seos is very much far away from the bot lane. We've got Root kind of rotating over as well. This Herald still on the cards for Loud.
Really awkward pathing for Scary. Wanted to go down to bot side to get the red buff, but it just meant that his his top laner rather, was sold out on the top side with the wave pushing away from him. Maybe expected Croc to go for a recall, instead did not, reappeared in the top side. It seems like it's just going to be the opposite trade that we saw last time. Neutral objective on one side of the map for the jungle camps on the other. Scary, with the assault and battery online, Root needs to be careful about showing his face. Tries to go for a cheeky little steal, but the transfer to Yuri is complete, and Croc will trade that one back for Shelly. Now, Herald always going to be better than the Dragon early on into the game, as Lonely is corralled under this tower, but with the minions cleared out, Robo and co should not be able to go for a dive.
Yeah, I think, you are in the CBLOL right now, Hawk, so you're going to have to just slightly amend that one to Herald always better, full stop, I believe, is how this region considers that one. So they are going to go for it, and Loud has picked it up. We'll see if they want to go back on the top side, but Both of them just going to head away. Here's the rotation from Yuri as well. There is the assault battery coming through onto Root, but Seos is there with the healing of the summoners, and they're actually pushing back Scary. Tinones on the TP, flashes in with the taunt, picking up so many members of Kabum, but he ain't getting out alive. That's going to be the 1-for-1.
Nice play right there from Kabum to be able to trade back a kill. I like the idea. Croc just a little bit slow on the Herald play, so they pull the trigger. First mid-roam of the game, it's Yuri, Realm Warp to bot, but the disengage from Loud was just beautiful. Spell Shield on the Rise route, and then final chapter as the Vi flies in. Scary. I'm not sure if he failed to jump over the wall right there to try to get away from Tinones, but either way, it is the counterpunch from Tinones to force out the 1-for-1. We just can see it again. Croc still on the reset on top side. TP comes in immediately from Tinones to make it a 3v4. And with Kabum trapped between the towers, they're just, with not being able to get the first kill, not able to get out. And Tinones, really nicely done, but unfortunately just doesn't have the survivability to make it back out. At the end of it all, it's pretty even trade across the board. I think Kabum will be happy about that one. They're able to at least deny away from Root. And we can see as well, Yuri, with the wave pushed in, is up a pretty significant amount of CS as well. But the gold, still about 1,000 in Loud's favor.
Yeah, for sure. And we can already see on show right now, Hawk, that the level of disengage that both of these teams have, as well as the level of rotation and engage that they have, is just massive on both sides. It's so hard to actually pin them down. Kabum making the first team maneuver, and they do manage to get something, but they have to work really hard to get one kill onto the board, as it does end up going 1-for-1 in the end. Now, Scary, maybe back for a bit of revenge on this bottom side, slipping into that bot side brush, and Root, no summoners now. Seos, none either. And with the cease and desist about to come off cooldown, this Sivert could be in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, but Tinones has first move from mid. You can see him fogging into the river with Croc. So Kabum needs to be very careful. And a nice ward from the bottom lane actually spots out Scary. They're just going to herald up in the mid lane. Croc wanting to just force a response right now from Kabum. They do have first move from bot, so it could quickly become a numbers advantage for Kabum. But both teams just sort of sitting in their lanes right now. No one wanting to commit into the river and rotate to a fight. Skuro is going to be the first one to make an appearance. And it's going to be Dragon, started up by Kabum. Root has the pincer maneuver from the bottom side of the map, but Croc in the river.
Oh, he has to commit to it with the Galliot to follow, but he's dropped so low so quickly. And there's the knock-up onto Scary. It's traded back by Tinones. Dud's still alive with the wild growth. Jax has run his way all the way down to river.
Dragon!
But will he make it in time to turn this fight? Duds can't get the job done as Root survives on a sliver, and Yuri Realm warps to safety. Loud take the win in the fight.
Loud gets the 2-for-1. The Dragon, of all things, did so much work. Hextech Drake is one of the most damaging dragons in the game, and we saw it on display. Duds and Scary and Skuro just getting lit up by that Drake as the fight progressed. We'll take a look at this one again. It's a nice ulti, able to catch Croc before he went into the clone from Scary. But again, the disengage from Loud is just so good. And you can see, look at this, the bottom lane from Kabum. They're getting chain lightninged by this Hextech Drake, as well as the boomerangs and the ricochets from Sivir ripping through their health bars. Yuri, good heads up play to recognize that the fight is lost and Realm Warp out. But Loud able to find the win. And again, it's first move from mid. Tinones, the first one at the play with the grand entrance, makes a big difference.
Absolutely, man. You know, a lot of people had questions for Loud dropping Brunsey after such a successful season for him. As you said earlier, he really elevated that roster, and still they ended up opting for Root right here. And right now, we're kind of seeing why. Root, such a cool head navigating these fights, getting away from the four-man dives, from the messy dragon fights. He is staying alive. He's positioning well. He's pumping out damage. This Korean import is looking very, very solid right now for Loud. And it's not the chaotic Loud that we've maybe seen in the past, but it is a dang good one.
Yeah, it's clean too. And to talk a bit more about Root, again, replacing this star ADC in Brunsey after a great Worlds run was definitely an unpopular move. And Root as well, a player that, yeah, maybe a Korean import, but I mean, very unproven, hadn't played since spring in 2021 when he was replaced by Prince on Sandbox. and had not been in the competitive scene for the better part of the last 2 years. Now, coming back in, no one really knew how good he would be after a lackluster showing in LCK nearly 2 years ago. Comes in, has looked great in the first 2 games. We'll have to see if he's able to continue this form, but credit where credit is due. Root does seem to have panned out for this team. And meanwhile, the other Korean import, Lonely, able to knock down a tower on the top side. First tower of the game solo for this GP. Kabum, despite losing a couple of these fights on the bottom side of the map, they're actually ahead in gold because of the farm and because of the towers they've been able to pick up.
Yeah, GP really getting great use out of all the chaos happening elsewhere on the map. Lonely soaking up a lot of that value, coming in, representing the LLA from Team AZE, and is having a great show right now. You know, we had a question about the GP. We don't see it pulled out too much, and Jax is a terror up in the top lane, but Lonely has been handling that one very well himself as well. So currently, he's got another Wukong Yuumi trying to force their way into his lane, potentially looking for that dive that we wondered about earlier on, as there was another Herald, and maybe they'll just 5-man him. That seems to potentially be the plan right here.
Hey, why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it is going to be tower to answer back by Duds the Boy, as well as some farm for Scary. So overall, it'll be a pretty equal trade. But again, Skuro actually matching the roam up the top side, wanting to make sure that at the very least, his top laner cannot get dove. So it's going to be 1-for-1 in towers. Mid-wave pushed in by Kabum, but critically the Herald, as you say, better at all stages in CBLOL, is taken here by Croc once again. We'll have to see where they go with that one, as Robo is in on Lonely.
Ooh. Oh my goodness, Robo. Oh my goodness. In the 3v1, the assist coming in at the last second from Skuro and Scary. Lonely almost got bonked down in the 1v1. We're starting to see that Jax come alive.
Yeah, but Loud, they're going to try to answer back in the mid lane with the Herald. Kabum forced to respond to the play. Many ults were burned on the top side. Herald charge won't quite kill. They're in.
Rock's committing there with the Cyclone on the dive as the Herald knocks down the turret. Root following up with the Yuumi as well. Yuri really in a bit of trouble right here, and Scary goes golden, but Tinone's covering him over as he comes out of the stasis. A successful play for Loud in the mid lane. They get 2 towers. They get the 3rd charge as well. Skuro can't stop it.
Wow, what a great answer back from Loud right there. Kabum, they think they got a freebie on Robo on the top side, and I mean, to be honest, I think it was a bit of a freebie, but Loud immediately quick to the punch with the response. They summon up the Herald in mid, and again, Kabum had so many ultimates unavailable for this fight, so Croc just sends it under the tower, and the AoE from the Sivir is too much, and they're forced away is Kabum. It's 2 kills, 2 towers. Loud, they are all of a sudden firmly in the driver's seat in this game. Only 1,000 gold in the lead, but with the mid lane tier 1 down. We say it time and time again. First move to side lanes is big. Well, if you can get the wave further up in the lane, it's going to make a big difference.
You know, Hawk, I am so glad that the CBLOL is back. You know, it's music to my ears hearing Croc just sends it. That's what powers me. That's what gets me up in the morning on the weekends to cover this region. And Croc does indeed send it in a big, big way. So now Loud, they've retained the gold lead. They're actually going for a counter play as Kabum onto Root. And that looked all too easy as both bot laners for Loud are wiped off the face of the earth. Croc now on the rotation, forces the flash away from Vi. TP in from Lonely as well. But Robo, the flanking Jax looking for the bot lane, can't find the stun as the fight splits apart and Croc is taken down away from his tower. Kabum now, they fire right back. This is heating up.
Well, just as we praise them, it's Loud maybe going a little too deep, but such a clean play with the engage on the Root. Tries to spell shield the assault and battery from the Vi, but Scary, someone else popped the spell shield as he was on the way in. I think it might have been a Essence Flux from the Rise just to knock that one away. Scary finds the knock up. See that one again. I honestly have no idea what to pop the spell shield right there, but someone got it. Really nicely done from Kabum to immediately get the kills. And then Croc, Tinones, and Robo, they think they can turn it around. There is a low health bar on Scary, but with the teleport in from the GP and the Rise arriving on the bottom side, there's just too much damage present in this Kabum composition. And that time, maybe Croc should not have just sent it really deep onto Lonely. Should have maybe protected his bot lane a little bit better. But hey, as you said, Croc, I think a little bit of a psycho, and I mean that in the best way possible. That's what you want out of your jungler sometimes. And hey, more often than not, it works.
Absolutely, the most loving way possible to call Croc a psycho. We do love him all the way up and down. But it is now Kabum regaining control of the gold lead, and we flagged this up in the pre-game that they had a very solid early game versus
Mhm.
Liberty, and it kind of started to fall apart as the game stretched on. They have now taken our defending champions blow for blow, even in kills, basically even in gold, up in Dragons to the 20-minute mark. They're in a very strong position, and at some point, the scaling is going to start coming into play. We
Oh
mentioned
no,
both teams with
Croc.
solid scaling, but Croc really living up to that title again, tries to go in the final chapter, will find no roots. But Kaboom, they are looking like they have a great foundation to mount a real challenge to our champions here.
They do, and it's worth noting, Duds the boy, someone that we were throwing a lot of questions at in the draft and in the pregame Trajan, is the one with the keys to carry. 4-1 on the Seri. This is your time to prove that you still belong if you are Duds the boy. Show up when it matters most. You've got the Lulu behind you. You've got 2 items. You're working towards a third. I want to see Duds the boy put this team on his back and carry them through to the late game because, as you said, Kabum, yesterday, a pretty good early game. Nearly 6,500 gold in the lead, but they couldn't close. Now, against Loud, can you close this one out?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a good chance for them. Loud in regular season has never been quite the monster they looked in the summer playoffs. They have had moments of inconsistency, but that was something that really they seem to be working on. They seem to be improving on, especially in summer last year. Even Croc, seemed to be stabilizing somewhat in the way that he operates, the way he navigates those early stages. So Loud, they've played a pretty good game as well, absolutely. Fighting back, looking for those plays. We praised them for that massive counter punch in the mid lane, and they got so much value off that play. Kaboom, they've, I think, had more individual successes, but less value gained off each play. And now as the items come in, the scaling gets stronger, the fights are going to be won harder. Let's see if they can maybe break open this game. The Baron is live after all. One big team fight win could put you in a position to win the whole game.
And I just love the way that Kabum is playing this game right now. Safety in numbers is the name of the game. We talked about it in draft. Loud has such an all-in style of composition. Just Kabum, they know that they don't need to leave anyone on their own to get picked off. They're grouping up around mid wave, pushing those, then grouping up around side waves, pushing those. Now Scary might, maybe not, after failing the Q, look for a gank on to the Jax, but Baron getting started up by Loud. They saw the Vi go to the bottom side. No, it's just going to be Vision taken back. You can see the game's on a knife edge. Neither team wants to pull the trigger into a lane for fear of getting it turned around and losing everything. Both teams have the ability to answer you so quickly. So Kaboom, safety numbers. I like it the way they're controlling waves. And with Dragon spawning in about a minute and a half as well, they're the ones that are closer to Soul. A slow game state, I think, is going to favor them just fine.
Yeah, for sure. I like the way Loud is kind of poking and prodding and threatening with a little bit of a robo potential overstay, but then, we'll threaten Baron, drag you back, Scary, having to be pulled back and forth there. They're trying to pull Kaboom apart, you mentioned. They are playing very well together, and Loud trying to split them up, trying to tear apart that cohesion for a roster that is pretty new. Scary, Lonely, Yuri, these are not players who have played together before. Duds and Skuro have manned that bot lane for at least a split now, but even then, they have only got a split under their belt. They are relatively fresh together and new to the rest of the players. There's, Kaboom are showing remarkably good cohesion, I think, for a relatively new composition right now versus Loud, a team that is basically the same as their championship win. They're not being pulled apart, not being stressed too heavily by our champions.
And again, I want to give a shout to Skuro, this farm system player, a player that came through Academy. It seems like he's been the one always first to the play for Kaboom, always the one covering and matching and making sure that his teammates are safe. And that's what you want to see out of the support. That's what we wanted to see in draft. Now, Robo potentially getting picked off.
Yeah, Scary committing to the play now. Loud not as close to the Baron, and they are going to be able to finish this Jax off, I imagine. Skuro Lonely there gets away with the Gale Force, and Loud not able to start up the Baron on the other side. That's just a clean win in the side lane.
It most certainly is, and now Robo down for 40 seconds. He has the teleport, but that's a flash in.
Flash is traded, ults popped, and Yuri fires back, knocks down Wukong, and even with the GPL used, Kaboom, that's 2 wins in a row. Now they've got 2 dead, the entire Loud top side. Maybe they look for the Baron here.
Trajan, I know you love hearing that Croc just sent it, but I'm going to put this one over to you. Do you think Croc should have just sent it right there? Because I don't.
I feel like perhaps there is maybe room for Croc not to send it, you know, some of these times. I do love it when he does, bless him, but I think perhaps that was a misstep, we could say, as the official term, and Kabum have used that misstep to pick up a Baron for themselves, extending that gold lead. They're going to have pressure for the Dragon unless Loud are able to rush it away right now.
Yuri has teleport. I think Kabum has the room to answer this if they want. 12,000 HP on the drag, but no, they're just going to give this one up, so it will be Loud equalizing and Drake's, but Kabum, they get 2 easy kills in a Baron. Loud just, I think, falling apart on the map a little bit, and it's Kabum again. They're just doing a better job staying together as a team. It feels like their coordination is just that little bit more on point in this game than the opposite number. They're going to finally take down this mid-tier 1, and Kabum now with the Baron, 4,000 gold in the lead. I would have to think this is the biggest gold lead we've seen so far this game for any team. They are very comfortable with their position.
And it is only going to get bigger, right? You can see these towers falling one by one. Now the split push is so much easier. Robo still chilling in the bot side, but, you know, they've got 2 lanes of pressure versus 1. Kabum should be able to relatively safely extend this gold lead if they can avoid a Croc flank, and that's exactly what they've been doing. It looks like CBLOL today really just trying to make our analysis seem a bit silly with all of our full sweep votes. Furia going down to INTZ, and now we've got Kabum looking poised to take down our champions in Loud. It's they're trying to teach us a lesson, I think, on trying to think like we know what we're talking about, as Yuri rotates into the bot lane with that TP, and Robo on the push forward, maybe once again too far up with a war jump to safety. Croc's there to cover him, but he's burning down to Lonely.
The trial by fire, Lonely, with now 3 crit items, takes down his opposite number. And it's not been Robo's game for I think it's fair to say, Trajan, as 0-3-0 on the Jax. Lonely putting on a masterclass in this game. Again, probably one of the most hype imports to come into the scene this year. Now, Kabum bearing down on this last tier 2 turret is almost certainly going to die. They're going to realm warp the minions forward even to the tier 3. Loud, they are waffling at trying to find a response.
Kabum smell blood in the water, I think, Hawk. They're trying to accelerate through, trying to get as much as possible out of this Baron buff, out of the pressure they have. They've seen Loud before. They know that this team can fight back into any game, and Kabum just yesterday lost the lead they had built for themselves. Now they've got an even bigger one, and I dare say they don't want to lose it the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the Baron power play, nearly 5,000 gold. It's gone down a little bit as Loud has equalized on some of the farm, but it's just absolutely massive. Kabum has exploded this game with just 2 mistakes off of Loud back-to-back, really letting it get away from you. And that goes to show, again, the game was on a knife's edge, but Kabum, they balanced it beautifully. Loud, they did not. And Kabum, they are the ones now so firmly in control. Duds the boy, we were talking about him being the big carry in this game. Now 3 items, has the Navori Quick Blades. There's a fully stacked Rod of Ages and a Rabadon's Death Cap for Yuri on the other side as well. Kabum, they're just going to try to wrest control of this topside jungle and maybe look to find a back-breaking fight.
They are spiking and spiking hard right now, our Kabum. They are all things in their control, feeling very, very confident right here. Croc and Sales once again looking for an angle, maybe onto mid lane. They have been really trying to find a winning fight through Croc leading that charge. But Kabum, they have shut the door on this man. They are not letting him get the freebies back into the game, as now they're crashing into the base. They don't have the Baron anymore. It's probably going to be hard for them to complete that push, especially versus a 3 and a bit item Sivir. But Kabum are threatening. They are ready. Croc finds the engage onto Duds, but it's just a flash traded again. It's the same old story, and it's Croc going down. Lonely finds the kill. Now Root is activated on the Sivir, diving forward, trying to find Zeri, trying to pin him to the wall, and Robo finds him. Perhaps Loud have a chance to scrap their way back into this game, as now Tinant and Robo split away onto Yuri. They need to get this rise down. They need to pick the members of Kabum apart one by one. Seos has been abandoned, and Yuri escapes with a Realm Warp.
They find the fight. Croc, he sends it once again and gets one shot, but it's Robo and Tinones, the solo laners for Loud, that get it done. We threw criticism at Robo just a few minutes ago for being 0-3-0 on this Jax, but you know what? That was a beautiful team fight, and although it's only even, Loud, they most certainly take those. As Loud, they are not done yet. Let's take a look one more time. Croc just gets demolished, but 2 ults already blown the wild growth in the assault and battery, and it's truly that flash counter-strike from Robo onto the back line, taking down Duds the Boy, the big carry for Kabum. And from this point, it just completely breaks down. Lonely runs down the bot lane on one side. Meanwhile, the Jax is too strong on the other, and Yuri gets out by an inch on this Realm Warp. As Kabum, they survive the fight. They live to fight another day, but Loud, they are not going to go quietly, as their name might imply.
As much as the bot laners were so important early on, these top laners are really stepping up to take the weight. As Croc again on the front line, committed to Yuumi ult as well. But look at this Wukong. He's melting every time, and Scary finds him as Kabum get fired back. Both junglers the first to fall so many times. Dud stepping forward, a lot more confident. Now in this fight, when there's not a Jax sitting on top of him. Tinans goes in, does find the taunt. Is it enough to win the fight? Jax is rotating over. He's got to get involved. There's so many low HP bars, and the Yuumi is on Robo's back, slows them down. The artillery finds one, a double for Lonely though as he fires back onto Root. Leaping forward is Robo, hunting for his target. Lonely running for dear life. He has the Gale Force, but the slow from Yuumi is there, and he gets the speed up from Q. Robo, I think he has to call it off. The danger is averted. It's another barn burner, 3 for 3.
For 3, and no one's gonna take the dragon, no one's gonna take the Baron. Super minions pushing into the bottom side against Loud, but these fights are just bonkers, Trajan, as Loud is refusing to die. Root doing so much damage on this Sivir, just bouncing the boomerangs through the whole team time and time again. But Lonely in this one, 704. The Gangplank ult just positioned in the choke point, doing so much work. Kabum, they are going to be the ones to secure this dragon, but it's not even Soul. It's third dragon for Kabum at 31.5 minutes, which means we are going to have yet another fight to try to decide the fate of these two teams in week number 1.
Bro, it just feels like they're just mashing their heads against each other now. They walk up to each other, Croc sees someone or Scary sees someone, and they go, okay, maybe we'll win this fight. Let's have another one, guys. Let's run that one again, and let's see if it pans out. And right now, it is going dead even every time. And every time, someone comes back with a new item, more power in the inventory, more death to deal out. But these teams are inseparable right now, despite the fact that Kabum is still holding on to a sizable gold lead. You really couldn't tell just by watching.
You really could not. And I think something that has been influential in these fights is Duds the Boy, now 4 and 3 on the Zeri. He's not been the one that's been the big carry in these fights for Kabum. In fact, he's been getting picked off more often than not. He's not been able to DPS the way he might want. And part of that is the wild growth has been forced out so defensively so early on. Every time Croc goes in, it's immediately answered with the wild growth from Skuro, and that means that the first person to jump on Duds the Boy is most certainly going to be able to take him down. Robo with an Abyssal Mask on the Jax, wanting to amp maybe his magic damage a little bit, maybe hold that thought, we're going in.
He's on to Root, but he doesn't get the knock-up. And look for the counter-engage from Croc again. The junglers die within seconds, but the rest of this fight peels apart with no one else going down. The Galio has fallen. Duds looking for more, wants to redeem himself, and Robo maybe searching for a re-engaged Seos sitting on his back, as usually. Both of these teams eyeing each other across the river. I think it's just the junglers this time.
It is just going to be the junglers this time, which means no neutral objective can be taken, but Loud, they're the ones with control. They're the ones with the health bar advantage. Skuro so low. Robo just going to make his way to the bottom side, will be matched by Lonely, and everyone is just going to take a recall, or will they? No, okay, Robo will hop away, but this time, Duds the Boy, no one got on top of him, was able to do a lot of damage, but Lonely on the GP. I think he's the one that Kabum is going to put their faith in this later game. We saw the damage numbers flash up in that last one. Nearly 4K damage from this Gangplank in just that short little engagement is insane.
Yeah, if Lonely gets that one critical barrel. We've all seen those gangplank barrels that change the course of a game. Ult is dropped by Robo in response right now, and the TP is coming in. He's got to finish off this GP before it becomes unwinnable, but he has to go golden, and now both mid laners are in, but the taunt's not in time! Yuri takes down Robo, and look at the other side. Loud,
Baron?
they committed to the Baron. Scary's running over, but he's going to get there in time. You know that Sivir and Yumi, they're going to melt this objective as Yuri tries to
TP!
find anything onto Tinones, and the Baron, I told a lie, it's barely even dead. Now the TP comes in from Lonely. Loud have seeded, all control, Kabum. They're going to get that all-important objective.
Kabum just managed to win out of both sides of the map. It's Yuri running down Tinones, not letting him join the team, creating a 3v4 on the opposite side, and Kabum, they get the Baron. Croc not even willing to flip it. Loud, they tried to buff, but Kabum, they called it out.
He certainly did. Kabum, as you said, win on all fronts. Now they've got Inhib down. They've got Baron waves crashing. Croc, you've done it so many times. You're going to have to go for another Hail Mary, I think, because the time is running out for our defending champions in this second game of the season. Kabum, once again, they play it safe. They play it reserved. They pull the recalls to get the last buys in before they run forward for what could be the last plays of the game.
And Loud, they just so desperately need to find a different angle, a different way to do it, because what they've been doing, it's not working. They're just trying to run straight at Kabum, but that's what this composition wants. We said it in draft. This comp wants to kite back and then slowly run you down. And if Kabum is able to sit back, throw in their damage, it's just unplayable for Loud. I'm looking at Robo. I'm looking at Croc. Can you find the flank that maybe, just maybe, breaks the defenses of Kabum? But with Soul now on the board in 30 seconds, I'm not sure that they'll be able to. Baron buff just allowing them to push these waves in so far and so quickly. And Robo in the side lane once again. Lonely's going to run down, maybe look for a potential pick.
Oh, Croc seems he's finding an angle onto the Rise as well. Look at Root pumping up the damage.
Yuri!
Rise has fallen already. The critical mid laner down for the count. And now Kabum are the ones running for the hills. 3 quick kills for Loud as the Dragon's coming up. And they still aren't done yet. Robo with the Yumi looks for the leap strike, but the flash is away from Kabum. Tried to keep them safe. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away. Looks like Loud are calling it off. Now what can they do with these 3 kills?
Robo's still in. Gonna try to run down Scary, but Loud. That's the engage angle that you needed. They got into the back lane. They broke the defenses. Kabum. They were strung out along the river just a bit too much, and Croc found it. Yuri getting taken down with Robo diving in on the backside of the fight as well. Now if they can get Scary, they might be able to get Baron. Kabum, you need to be careful.
Yeah, Scary's going to get away if Robo can find him, if he can guess the brush. Looks like he's going to be able to get the recall and just the mid tower. No inhib taken, but the Dragon for Loud as well. We're going the full distance for 7 if the last one is allowed to spawn for this Mountain Soul. It is still Kabum with the inhib. It is still somehow Kabum with the gold lead, but Loud, if they find that perfect angle, if Croc gets his way onto the priority targets, they can just wipe a fight.
And at this point, gold mattering less and less and less. Look at the items on all these carries. Lonely is a full build. Does the boy getting very, very close to it. Likewise, Yuri so close to full build. This gold advantage is just not meaning anything. It's all down to execution. And in that fight, it was Loud. They were the ones with the execution. They were the ones with the decisive engage. They need to find that again, though, because Kabum, they're back out onto the map. They've managed to stabilize. They don't get the soul, but the game's still going, and now Robo might be getting picked.
Look at the 4-man rotation. The Gallia not even being called so far. Tinones is there. Do they want to commit to it? They will let Robo fall, and there's no objectives to take. There's a long death timer, a minute, in fact, and a bit of a fascinating TP from Yuri there. Maybe a little bit of a mistake, who knows? But they are just going to go for this push. It's a 4v5 with super minions in bot lane.
All right, I'm not going to acknowledge that TP just happened. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment from that one. I don't know about that one, Yuri, but Kabum 4v5 for 35 seconds. Robo does have teleport when he's up, but no wards available. Kabum's going to go.
Brock's still going for it. Maybe he's just delaying. He has managed to slip away this time, not dying on the front line just yet as Robo's timer ticks further down. It's now 20 seconds and Loud. Looks like they will be allowed to live. Kabum, ever the cool heads prevailing. They are not going for the high risk, for the high reward plays. They really want to make sure they don't lose control of this one.
And I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Kabum, they know that the only way they lose this game is if they get split apart, they get overzealous, and they don't keep things slow and patient. That is the name of the game. So we see them recall. They come back onto the map. Baron spawning in a minute 20 with 2 inhibitors down. You would think that this one will be easier to take. Now, bot inhib is respawning before the Baron comes up. So super minions will not be available in that lane anymore, meaning Kabum won't have that lane pushing its only top wave, but still, Kabum, they're in the driver's seat on the map. They have been for the better part of, it feels like 15, 20 minutes, but they're still going in this game 40 minutes in now.
Loud just keeps you guessing, man, every step of the way. You never know that the game's done until the Nexus explodes. Now, once again, they have 1 inhib down. On the other side of the map this time, 1 inhib exposed. Baron up in 40 seconds. Croc, as always, searching for angles to find plays. Robo going back to his old haunt. He's going back to the bot lane. And Kabum, we need to see how they want to manage this one. They have been really trying to get these pushes going, but they've got to be so wary of the Wukong Yuumi combo flying out of invisibility at them for any second.
Full build Gangplank, full build Rise, full build Sivir. It feels like it's Root against everyone. Here they go.
Scary wants it, but as he's gone too far, he forces him to come out to Croc, and in comes the Galio. Stasis keeping Croc alive for now, and Scary goes down to Seos. Now we have the rest of the team splashing from Yuri, looking for the Root, and Stasis comes out for Galio, but now Root free firing, throwing out the boomerangs. Lonely goes down. The top lane carries both. Fall as Sinos finds the taunt for the double onto Rise, and Kabum, finally, have they been stopped? Have they been stifled? Have Loud found a way to drag this win out of the jaws of defeat, or will this game march on for longer?
It was Root against the world, but it's the Sivir damage that ultimately does it. Lonely drops, Yuri drops, Duds the boy drops as well. It's 4 for 2, and Loud, pushed to the brink of defeat, will find victory in the 4th game of the day.
Kabum, my heart aches for you guys. You were so close.